Hello, and welcome to falseDVIreports.com. I'm Tom Lemons. If you're currently married or with a significant other, I implore you to read the information contained in my website. For the most part, I believe that people are loving, caring, and trustworthy. But there are times when the ones we love the most turn on us unexpectedly. Domestic violence is a serious problem in this country, and I abhor any violence between couples, especially when children are involved. The problem is that society has developed a distorted view of who commits these crimes. Unfortunately, many of us believe most of what is presented through the media. The most popular fallacy is that men represent 95% of all domestic violence in this country. This is completely false. After experiencing a grueling 6-month batterers intervention program, researching statistics, and sitting in on hundreds of domestic violence hearings, I have found that much of what was being taught can be described as no less than propaganda. As a matter of fact, most of these statistics are taken out of context and are presented for shock value to gain your support. Sound like a conspiracy? Not quite, but definitely a tactic used throughout history by some of our most notorious dictators. The Department of Justice conducted 2 major surveys recently on intimate partner abuse. The results were confusing to say the least, and the numbers varied by staggering amounts, not small percentages. One said that men represented 16% of domestic violence victims, while another said that it's 39%. What does make sense is that men only represent 0.6% of the people who report domestic violence. On the other hand, women report the crime 8.5%. So I guess if you don't report it, it never happened. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise? It's absurd to think that the vast majority of men abuse women. Yes, men abuse women, and that disgusts me on a personal level. I am compassionate to the pain women suffer, but men are abused at an equal rate, if not more, with regards to individual types of violence. Men don't report it because we're men. Does it make it okay? Should it affect the laws in a way that eliminates due process and brings heavier penalties because of our gender? In the same way that the political game is played, these independent agenda-driven groups are reaping millions in federal and state tax dollars to support their campaign. Society is demonizing men as the callous, cold-hearted, emotionless gender. We are being convicted in civil courts all over the country without due process. It simply takes an alleged victim to walk into the county clerk's office and make the claim. There doesn't need to be any form of tangible evidence, police reports, or witnesses of any kind. This discrimination needs to stop. This is a violation of our civil rights. Remember, no matter who you are, regardless of gender, race, age, religion, or sexual orientation, abuse is committed at an equal rate by all. Therefore, not one of these groups should be propagated as villains. When you read the stories and facts provided, ask yourself if this compares to the plight of African American civil rights. Does it compare to the discrimination women actually endured prior to the 1920s? Aren't we all equal in the eyes of our forefathers? Is this battle any less important than those previously mentioned? Are men and women equal or not? Currently, I am working to expose the ease of receiving ex parte orders or DVIs. There needs to be a reformation of our current guidelines to receive an injunction. Not that they need to be denied, but more emphasis placed on the proof and validating their claim prior to approval by a judge. In addition, people who falsely accuse one another or lie on affidavits should face strict penalties, both civilly and/or criminally. This alone would greatly deter a petitioner from lying or using DVIs as a tactic of divorce or custody battle. Oh, and by the way, statutes already exist in most states with regards to acts of perjury, but it's rarely, if ever, enforced. Men and women are being abused daily. I support any fair and constitutional method to see that these tragedies are greatly reduced. Society should take a stance of stopping violence without blaming one gender. We should stand together to eliminate abuse and not draw lines between us. If you've been falsely accused, I want to hear your story. Thank you.